Public Investment Corporation has confirmed that Ayo Technology Solutions has to pay back the money. The PIC invested 4.3 billion rand in the IT firm in 2017. ENCA's Heidi Jokos is following the PIC inquiry taking place in Pretoria. She joins us now with details. So how did we get to this point, Heidi? What has transpired from those hearings of the PIC inquiry leading up to this point where Ayo Technology now has to pay back the money?
Well, Tilas, I've been tracking the story since this morning and I was trying to get confirmation, but we did hear from the acting PIC Secretary, Vilna Low, that in fact a notice was given to the PIC from the Companies and Intellectual Property Commission, which is basically the watchdog. They've informed the PIC that they have to recover 4.3 billion rand that was invested into Ayo Technology as well as interest. So they have 15 days to do so, and this notice was given to the PIC on the 21st of Feb, which was about last week, Thursday. So they have 15 days from that day to recover the money. And this, we've reached this point because there was lots of questioning and red flags around the Ayo Technology deal, why the PIC decided to invest into this company. We do know that the share price was overvalued. The PIC bought one share for about 43 rand, which was which was questioned as to why share price was so expensive, and also about the company itself and why the PIC decided to invest in such a company, because the PIC wouldn't ordinarily invest in a technologies company. Also, there was lots of speculation that the reason why this company, the PIC invested in this company, was because of the relationship between then CEO Dan Machile and part owner of Ayo Technology, Iqbal Survey. So, I mean, this is an unprecedented move that we've seen from the CIPC, that in fact the PIC needs to recover that money, which is a lot of money. And you must remember, this is government employees' pension funds. It's the PIC, which is the asset manager, and there was so much speculation and questioning around this deal, and now the PIC needs to get that money back.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's unprecedented, Heidi. I mean, 4.3 billion rand, and also the instruction coming from the CIPC to say actually this money needs to be recovered. Have we heard from Ayo Technologies? Iqbal Survey doesn't really hold back. It doesn't take much for him to respond to issues in the public domain. Have we heard from them?
Well, Tilas, this morning when I got wind of the story, I actually phoned Iqbal Survey, and he told me to phone him back in 30 minutes. Later on, when I tried to call him back, there was no answer. I've also sent him a message, but no response. However, they have released a report on SENS, and they basically saying that the CIPC, has the process is incorrect. They've based their decision on incorrect information. So they're basically defending themselves and saying that the CIPC did not act correctly in coming to the decision that they should that Ayo Technology needs to pay the PIC back. It was quite a long report, and I didn't have time to go over it in detail. But basically, those points saying that they did not follow proper procedure, it was incorrect, and their decision has been based on incorrect information.
And Heidi, all of this, I guess, if you wanted something that dramatizes what the PIC inquiry that you've been attending is all about, this is exactly it, isn't it? The whole issues around decisions on investments, investments of monies that are, essentially the pension funds of government employees. And today we were hearing about the process of governance at the PIC, particularly from one former board member, Dudu Hlachwayo. What was she saying about in part the meeting that they held with then Minister Malusi Gigaba?
So specifically around the issue with then Minister Malusi Gigaba, she spoke about how when he was the Minister of Finance, they had a board meeting at one stage relating to certain allegations, and how he felt his name was being dragged into all of this. But she painted an environment that was filled with fear and distrust and aggression and toxicity. She was actually, contradicting what we heard from Deputy Finance Minister yesterday, Mondli Gungubele, who's also the chairman of the PIC board. He painted a completely different picture. He did say there were divisions within the PIC board, but Dudu Tlhachwayo actually said that, it was a very unpleasant environment, and the way in which the board was addressed and spoken to by the then Finance Minister, Malusi Gigaba, as well as now the Deputy Finance Minister, it was not in a way in which, they accepted, and they it was just almost like they were being disrespected and not appreciated and trusted as board members. And, she also went as far as to say that board meetings were halted and brought to a complete standstill when Finance Minister Malusi Gigaba was the Finance Minister. And, she was saying how it was as far as 5 months where board meetings weren't held in certain committees, which obviously raises a lot of question as to how the PIC was actually functioning when vital board meetings were not being held.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think the words she used to describe that meeting, where she says Malusi Gigaba wanted an explanation of why he was being dragged into controversies around the PIC, she said that meeting was tense, very aggressive, and very unpleasant, and you could sense the emotions were quite palpable there from Dudu Tlhachwayo. So has she gotten to a point where she's talking about the recent developments, where we saw the announcement of the mass resignation of the PIC board?
Tulis, that was quite a strong point that came out in her affidavit, because she basically contradicted everything that we heard from the Deputy Finance Minister yesterday. She said that they were called into a meeting on the 1st of February and they were told that they either need to resign or they will be fired on the 4th of February, which is completely contradictory to what we heard from Mondli Gungubele, who said that it was a decision for them as a board, a unanimous decision to resign. And she was saying that the Finance Minister Tito Mboweni had instructed Mondli Gungubele to say if the board does not resign, they will be fired on the 4th of Feb, which is about 3 days later to when they decided to resign. So it's completely opposite to what we heard yesterday, and she was saying that she decided as a board member to rather step aside because of, she didn't want to be fired, and she was a board member, and she decided she would rather just listen to the instruction that was given to her by the chairman. So it will be interesting to see if we can get other word from other board members as to how they feel about the whole process. Were they told to resign, otherwise they'll get fired, or did they decide that it's best to resign?
Wow, and that's a really interesting turn of events, isn't it? Thank you so much, Heidi.